we are live apparently. Hey, cheers my mates. Don't know if anyone is actually watching. Yeah, so if I may, first go a few, like a short message to censor, because, well, I will be talking about some things that can be perceived as controversial, and YouTube has a tendency to be less than tolerant to views that don't conform to them, yeah? By the way, if the audio is okay, if there are issues with the audio, please let me know. So, dear YouTube censor, hey, cheerio. This is mostly educational stream. If you have some issues with anything that I say, just bear in mind that I have completely and absolutely Western sources, that's it. And if you suspect that I have done something wrong, then I would highly recommend you to give me a second. Hop, hop, hop. There we go. 1, 2, 3. Sorry, guys. New software, getting familiar with it still. So, so contact this email address here. That is for police in the Czech Republic. I am a Czech citizen. And it is currently illegal to basically spread propaganda, etc. of, and to lie online with the penalty depending on the legal classification of 1 or 3 years in prison. So, I would just, dear YouTube censor, ask you to leave it to professionals that determine if what I'm saying is correct or incorrect, legal or illegal, yeah? So, with that out of the way, cheers my mates. Do we have anyone watching? Probably not. So yeah, I'll go still through the moves, yeah. So hey, cheerio. My name is Paul. I go, my name, well, it's actually Pavel, but I go by Paul. Make awesome. So, we will be talking today about Ukraine war and Poland. And so, first of all, I would like to get out of the way why you should pay me any attention. Like, who am I and stuff like that. As you can tell by the flag behind me, I am a Czech citizen. That doesn't mean anything, right? I'm just a bloke that is very much interested. Sorry. Need to switch to my somewhat American accent. Interested in history, in geostrategy and geopolitics. Not to mention that I have a tendency to be right. We will go through those because that is important. I cannot explain why I tend to be right about these things. Maybe because how I form my thoughts, how I think, my thinking process, etc. Yeah. But to establish my competency, if I may have your attention for 2-3 minutes, if you don't need the proof of the competency, just skip a bit forward, yeah? So, I have... it should not be there. Let's switch them around. I do apologize, give me a second, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, that should not be happening. There we go. So I have here a few things prepared. So yeah, my very first video, so you understand, I've made my very first video on Karl Rittenhouse because I've seen insane lies in the media, despite everything being on camera, and people could see it for themselves, yet they believe this is lies. So I've decided, yeah, I cannot sit on the sidelines no more. I need to do something. So I made a video. In the end of the video, as you will hear, by the way, beautiful COVID beard, was a strong anti-war message. Simply put, lies in the media equal wars.
Similar here. Some time ago, man with a silly mustache that with his friends and with the use of mass media that were less than honest, were able to convince a nation that it is a good idea to go into war with the whole world.
So, if you did not get that, I was talking about Mustache Man in Germany in the 1930s, 1940s. Now, just quickly on what it is, specifically to Ukraine war. I've seen it coming for months. In 13th of June 2021, that is some 8 months before the Ukraine war started, I have first time met V Radio, but a lot of you might know him. And I specifically wanted to kind of like, hey, he's a big YouTuber, 2.5 thousand, like subscribers at the time. Maybe we can talk about it. And unfortunately, neither he nor Johnny Walker Dread knew anything about Nord Stream. I wanted to basically transition through it. So, and kind of like illustration of this would be the Nord Stream pipeline that is going through the Baltic from Russia to Germany, and American reaction to it. I don't know if it... So, yeah, I was, trying to speak specifically about that. If I move it a wee bit more, few months later, video again, there was the Young Turks complete and absolute lies about Kalle Rittenhouse case. Again, a strong message, lies in the media equal war. It was wink wink, nudge nudge, we are, there's gonna be war. This and obviously this. So we will be here talking, simply put, truth, and what it means. So now specifically we will be shifting then to Poland. Give me a second, I just need to write down. Do we have... God damn it. Yeah, let's say 7 minutes in, so you understand I need to write down. I have my cheat sheet, but also writing down the time of the timestamps that I will be putting up, Sorry for that, guys. So, and girls. So nice, recap. So, I could actually put it there. Never mind. So, if you're not familiar with what happened, just few... earlier this week there were missiles striking Poland territory, Poland, who is a NATO member. Initially it was reported that it was done by Russia. I also reported, doesn't mean it did happen. I will actually show you what those missiles struck. They just hit the middle of a field, nothing too significant. Unfortunately killed 2 people, which is obviously a tragedy. Yeah. So, by the way, guys, I apologize. I'm not the best streamer, not the best entertainer. I'm kind of analytical mind, So, this one? Oh, why is it? Oh, okay. So, here it happened there. We have Poland here, by the way, if anyone is interested. I'm Ish from here, from Czech Republic. So it happened here, and that's Poland. You have Ukraine here, and Russia and their buddies Belarus here. You have also Crimea, where they can launch the missiles from. Now, the official statement right in the beginning was Poland and Ukraine were jumping up and down. The missiles were Russian, fired by Russia. And, well, it's a big problem, right? Because if you remember, NATO attack on one is attack on all. It could have been potentially used, for escalation of the conflict, dragging whole of NATO, that is, Western Europe and, well, Eastern Europe, UK, and obviously the big boys, like United States, to war with Russia. Now that did not happen because later on the story was, or it was, said by NATO and by the United States, by President Biden, that the missiles appeared to be Ukrainian. The official version as of now is that those were anti-rocket missiles that simply missed their mark and landed in Poland. And we have some chat interactions. Cheers, mates. In a second. Manarayhofer or I don't know what you mean with that, but anyway, cheers, mates. So back to the story. The story now is that those were Ukrainian missiles impacting in Poland. I don't think so. Now, I need to say, I don't think so, I don't know, so obviously it is possible. But we will go quickly through some of the possibilities, yeah. So, in a second. So, the options that we have now. First, we will take it from the least likely. That is a false flag, attack. That doesn't make any sense. That would be from Ukraine or / Poland, basically attacking themselves, Poland, in order to bring others to war, the rest of the Union. Now, I should actually. I should also first set up the motivations, who has what. So, Ukraine obviously wants to involve NATO in this war, because Russia obviously does not want to involve NATO, and Poland is very important. They are very gun-ho. They really want to basically they're looking for the reason to get in Ukraine and to kick some Russian ass. They have a long history with Russia. They are Russia basically presents the only security threat to Poland. So yeah, Polish people and also politicians would want to help Ukraine far more than what they are currently doing. So they were motivated quite a lot to actually have this be a Russian attack. Yeah. So now, back. I will probably use this the map so you can easily follow what I'm trying to say. Now, so first of all, false flag attack. Very unlikely from Ukraine to Poland or Ukraine-Poland to Poland. Why? This idea was first said by Preston. This got the name. Preston Stewart, a decent YouTuber on Ukraine war, quite funny, and yeah, I must say he made a lot of sense. Now, Russia could always claim that the hit to Poland was accidental. Therefore, it being a false flag from Ukraine doesn't make any goddamn sense. It's way too much, way too little of impact possible. Even if they would somehow convince that those rockets were Russian, rest of NATO, rest of the Western world, Russia can say, "Oops, that was by mistake. We apologize," etc., etc. Right? So false flag, no, because there's also inherent risk. If you get caught, it's like, okay, bye, cheerio, Ukraine, you are on your own. Yeah. So number one, false flag from Ukraine / Poland, Ukraine doesn't make any goddamn sense. Now, I have heard specifically online and seen that some people, some experts on weapons, at least people who claim to be experts, that those were the Ukrainian missiles based on from the what was left on the ground, from the wreckage, or I don't know how to say that. That those were Ukrainian missiles, like a Russian Russian-made, but used by Ukraine, and they put their modifications, like Ukrainian ones, something about screws that they are using, Now, so what? Russia kept, what I mean? Like, I'm sorry, that doesn't prove anything. Russia captured a lot of Ukrainian weapons also. Just recently, it was reported that Russia shipped to Iran javelins, stingers, and NLAW launchers for Iran to reverse engineer back, so they can manufacture their own. By the way, guys, if I'm talking too fast or something like that, just tell me. If you are not following me, hey, go ahead, just write any questions you have, if I lose you somewhere, we will be talking quite complex things, so definitely tell me if I didn't explain something properly. I'm an amateur. So the S300, sure, mate, I absolutely, but we'll get to that, or I can show it right away. Fuck it. So do we have a? No, we don't. So, do we have the? It doesn't, it was reported those are S300s, what that there, what I mean? Actually, if this is, like a result of anti-air, explosion, then I'm like, goddamn, what they are like shooting down a goddamn Enterprise, or because the crater is massive. You know what I mean? Just look at that. Holy shit. Wrong. Okay, I'll leave it there. Because, anti-air missiles, correct me if I'm wrong, have like a relatively small warhead. Because they need to, the main things about anti-air missiles are speed, maneuverability, and range. And obviously precision, So you have like a relatively small warhead. I mean, I'm sorry, I don't see this, like this being like anti-air, but whatever. Sure, like Poles have, everyone has, like S300s, Now we'll get to, to it definitely in a second. So. The false flag, like simply doesn't make much of a sense. Now the official version. First the double false flag. Like basically, Russian one. Like Russia fighting at Poland in hoping to smear Ukraine to be like, hey, they did false flag. Also, the risk is too high. They nowhere near the, like it would not make sense because any batteries of Ukraine are nowhere near the front lines. What I mean? That could fire it. Like or nowhere near. They're quite, but still they are on the Ukrainian side. Like relatively deep behind front lines. So it would not make any sense that Russia could, like hope to launch a missile. Like. It would be tracked through radar, etc. So no, that doesn't make any sense. Like the double false flag. Sorry. So those are two. Now, third one, that if it was Russia, and just give me a second. Speed and precision. Yeah, okay, cool. So I hope like you guys are following still. Again, I'm just an amateur and mostly analytic and stuff like that. Not the best entertainer. So anyway, so now specifically to if it was Russia. Now I think this specifically because of the timeline of the incident and reactions towards it. But in any case, it doesn't matter who fired it. Yeah, I will explain that in a bit. That's geostrategy, geopolitics, and stuff like that. Yeah. So why I think it was done by Russia? So where do we have it? So here, and god damn it, my microphone is in the way. So yeah, if you look here, that is where this happened. That's electric connection of high voltage and like electricity from Poland, one of the two, to Ukraine. Yeah, you could find. Well, we can take a look at that. You can see actually the power lines going if I have a decent internet. Now Russia was whole week or 2 weeks actually bombarding, you know, like civilian infrastructure, electricity infrastructure. I think it's here, right? Yeah, it should be here, if I remember correctly. You can see here power lines going there, and and they turn somewhere here, something like that. It was specifically pointed by Ryan Macbeth. I should really show those. I hate OBS. Sorry. So these are two great YouTubers. Preston Stewart, you know, like that was the first person I dropped. You know, they do great content on Ukraine war. Preston Stewart does also funny shorts, you know, I must say. And Ryan Macbeth, he is a former US Army anti-tank gunner, or anti-tank. Anyway, running around with a rocket launcher. So yeah, they make great content on Ukraine war. So definitely check them out if you want to learn something more, I don't know, mainstream. Like still they're independent and everything, but yeah. So yeah, Mr. Macbeth specifically was saying, I can't find it now on the map, but he was saying that the power lines basically turn. They continue here straight, and then they turn and cross Polish border somewhere else. That the Russian missiles could have been specifically targeting that cluster, flew over, hit, you know, like somewhere here. That's one hell of a, you know, like coincidence if this would be the official version, right? You know, like you have, I'll switch to myself. Give me a second. That is one hell of a coincidence, right? If you have the official, if you consider the official version that Russian missile was flying over the Ukrainian target, right? And Ukraine fired and, you know, like a counter missile to shoot it down, missed, and it landed in Poland. What? Like, they're right next to a power line. You know what I mean? Do you just understand how long the border between Poland and Ukraine is? You know what I mean? That's one hell of a coincidence, ain't it? Now, not to mention, if we can go back to the map, I will switch to So, Russia has position, and they fired from Belarus. They obviously fired from their positions, and they fired from Sevastopol, Crimea. Could have been firing anywhere from occupied Ukraine positions, right? The missiles, right, will be, if there's a missile coming from Belarus, for example, at Lviv, the missile will be fired, you know, like in the direction. As far as I know, no missiles were fired from Brest, for example, from Pinsk, you know, like etc. Yeah, like further east only. So the missile will not be, for example, going this direction and then turn 90 degrees to the left or something like that. Kind of doesn't make sense, you know. The intercept missiles, you know, they go basically, you know, they predict where the missile will be. They don't make turns and stuff like that. So unless Russia was firing from Brest, right next to Polish border. Like, I don't see how that could be that is anti-air missile and 2 anti-air missiles. Don't forget, those were 2 missiles that impacted there, right? If a missile would be flying from Crimea, from anywhere from Russia, right, the missiles that Ukraine would be firing in contra would be flying east. How could they end up in goddamn Poland? Doesn't make any sense, you know. Now, don't remember, please, we've been told those were S-300s, but do you like... What? Do you think that media doesn't lie, etc., etc.? You know, that the Western politicians don't lie? Now, why would they lie? And that is the big question, why it doesn't matter who fired it. We will be in a bit, so... Twitter of you on board. Yeah, sure. Well, even if you have a... You know, like, I must say, you know, like, I don't know that much, like, I know close to nothing about S-300s, you know, but... Like, that is, like, insane, a goddamn crater, you know, and as I said, it kind of doesn't make sense, like, the coincidence that there's a power line, a target that Russia is targeting, you know, like, for the last 2 weeks, you know, and specifically, Russia would very much want to sever that connection between Poland and Ukraine, because they are trying to destroy all the energy infrastructure before the winter. Openly said it, you know, like, I think this week even. So, like, those too many coincidences in it, you know. I don't believe the official version doesn't make sense, in my opinion. Like, what do you guys think? Anyway, sorry, I'm sometimes oscillate between the accents. Try to maintain my American accent somewhat. Anywho, also would like to ask you if the music is not too distracting, or if you can hear it, and etc. So what else? Yeah, okay. So what happened? You might have seen. Let's search together. This is up. So Biden. What he basically said. Yeah, there we go. Right, and like he specifically said, you know, like this, that it doesn't make sense, or most likely was not far from Russia. Yeah, right here. Yeah, there we go. That it was that Ukraine fired basically their missiles. Oh yeah, blah blah blah, cookies. Right. Remember, initially, actually, I should do Twitter. Let's go to Twitter. I've had it there. Initially, Poland and Ukraine said that this was done by Russia. No, they would obviously say it. As I said, they had a motivation. There we go. So, this is the official, the first reporting, you know, like Russian missiles hit. Yeah, Russian missiles hit NATO member Poland, right? Cutting 2. So, I'm gonna need you to pay attention, and please, if you have any questions, right, Scrappy. Yeah, okay, I'll trust your expertise, right? Anyway, so if you need to look at the timeline, yeah. Poland, who is very much gun-ho, let's go get Russian, let's kick some Russian ass. You know, Ukraine also, you know, obviously needs motivation. So they are like, yeah, it was done by Russia, let's go. Immediately. Right? But then Russian response is, no. Those were not our missiles, that's basically false flag, you know, like done by Ukraine, Poland, etc. Lies. Notice they are not saying anything about it being Ukrainian anti-missiles, right? They're saying, no, it was not us, that was Poland and stuff like that, right? And then Biden is like, oh, no, like, it wasn't Russia, no. It was, like Ukrainian missiles, right? Interesting timeline, isn't it? Like how basically even the Poland turned around, and for some time Ukraine, Zelensky and stuff like like other guys in Ukraine were jumping up and down. No, we have the data. It was done by it's obviously a Russian missile. Like they were very much pissed. One more thing, they have specifically requested to have access to the investigation, like to send their experts to Poland. What is funny, that Poland said, yeah, okay, but only if United States allows it. Currently there are American investigators with Polish investigators, right? So now what I think is happening, that is a cover-up right now happening, and it was done by Russia. Now, ultimately, it doesn't matter. It absolutely does not matter. Now, if you have seen my documentary on that I've made at the beginning of the war, there was the kindergarten incident. If you have not seen my video on that, maybe you remember the kindergarten from before the war started. Hey, cheers, Bobby. I'm gonna have to fake Neil, like later on. The kindergarten incident clearly, it gives us a frame of reference. So what happened then was that I'll be saying Russians, this was actually separatists in Ukraine. I will be, for all intents and purposes, let's be honest, they're taking their orders from Moscow. That it was reported by Russians that Ukrainians shelled, like a Russian kindergarten just before the war started, It was in all Russian media, and the West immediately, there was media, and it was, like politicians, specifically Boris Johnson, immediately said, no, that is not true, that is a false flag attack by Russia in order to have a pretext for war. We know it for a fact, that is what Boris Johnson has said. We know it for a fact. Now, this happened in the morning in Ukraine. Boris Johnson was giving this speech in the afternoon in London, or somewhere else, right, in England. And what turned out just after that to be the case was that the kindergarten was actually in Ukraine territory. There was a Ukrainian kindergarten actually presumably hit by Russians. So that proves that Russia was lying, that Boris Johnson, the West, was lying to us, because how could it be a false flag attack, right? If it's a Ukraine fucking, kindergarten, doesn't make any goddamn sense, like he didn't have any data, anything. How can he say we know for a fact that it was a false flag attack? What? Fuck off, Bojo. Now, why Biden didn't say something like that? Oh, sorry, there was an afternoon in London. I think it was noon or before noon, something like that. Because of time zone difference. It was still early morning, when White House was giving, like a press on this. So immediately the story switched, right? The story switched to, hey, Russia bombed Ukrainian kindergarten. Oh, we need to get them. We need to, etc., etc. Like it's terrible. And so that already is gigantic red flag there. we have our leaders, Western leaders, Western media, lying to us. Not to goddamn, you know what I mean? Not only the Russian, they lied as well, but our media is lying to us. To us. Right? Now, what turned out to be the case? Well, I didn't have a follow-up on the kindergarten, maybe I should have done it. Well, I highly doubt it was done even by the Russians, you know what I mean? Maybe so you understand there was a crater in front of the kindergarten and there was a hole in the wall. Ukraine side was saying that it was done by 122mm artillery. Too little damage, like by far. You know, international team of experts, OSCE, that is Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe, something like Europe-specific United Nations, you know, they are more hands-on, but with less power, right? Anyway, they were specifically like observers of the ceasefire that was at the time in effect. They immediately came to the position, you know, like, and they were denied access because investigation was ongoing of the Ukrainian side. They were stopped, but a few hours before that, Ukraine fucking rushed, you know, like a CNN team from the other side of the country. They flew them goddamn in, you know what I mean? Hey, take pictures, you know, like film this, you know, but no, experts, you guys stay away. No, we don't want you to see this, right? So, gigantic red flag with the little damage, because in my video I've specifically shown what a 122mm round, you know, like does, you know, and like they would need a new classroom, you know, like to say the least. Anyway, there was one more follow-up. The OSCE team never got the access to that site, to the hole in the wall, because immediately a repair started, like nothing, you know what I mean? Now, important thing here is, if it was done by Russia, right, you know, like if it was truly an RT round from Russia, it is only in the interest of Ukraine to have the OSCE there and to say, hey, yeah, it was done by Russia, you know, Jesus Christ, right? So, yeah, where the truth lies, I don't know, but I know that nothing makes sense that they told us. Hey, cheers, Neil. Spoke specifically had a blast from the past with you. Showed it on the screen. So, yeah, I see you. Thanks, Neil. So, now, they're moving specifically, if we compare those two events, right? First, truth didn't matter. It did not. They put a spin on it, right? So now you need to question, okay, why they did not put a spin on it here, right? They didn't have to. Now I will specifically say this. The Biden's reaction, the West reactions, USA's reaction, it's a goddamn dagger in the back of Ukraine. Why? Russia is shitting their pants that NATO gets involved. There's a whole, you know, like a reason for even this war. But yeah. And what Biden basically could have said, cheers by the way, what Biden could have and should have said, this is geopolitics, geostrategy, is, if, you know, even if it would be Ukrainian, if it would be known, or highly probable that it is a Ukrainian missile, he should have said, we cannot determine whose missiles it is with certainty. However, it is possible it was a Ukrainian missile. In any case, this strike would not have happened if Russia would not illegally, blah, 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 evilly, blah, 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 terroristically shell Ukraine, you know. Now are NATO citizens dying as a result of this war, of Russian aggression, etc., etc., etc. If it continues, we're gonna have to re-evaluate, take strong steps and stuff like that. Because that would say to Russia, hey, at least, you know, maybe it's bluffing or not, but if he says like, hey, yeah, it was Ukraine, it's like, we don't care. We are not interested in war. We don't want to go to war with Russia. Now, I'm not saying that they should go to war, you know, not in the slightest. But it's a clear message to Russia, right? Hey, basically do what you want in Ukraine. We're not getting involved. You know, like what the status quo that is, we are happy with that. You know, if you, by the way, disagree with me, please write it, you know. Yes, Scrappy, Poland could have shot themselves. That is definitely a possibility. However, I don't know if you know, many like Polish people, they take their faults extremely seriously. They, you know, like Polish life is worth more than anything for them. You know, it would be like, I mean, I didn't see any bodies, right? We are told that were too dead, and I didn't see any bodies, and the only thing that I know about them is that they were Polish. Like whether, I'm guessing they were farmers, right? That would make sense, but anything else was not said about it. So, but back to the story, or to the, you know, like, let's say betrayal. Well, yeah, it's a blasphemy. You know, pineapple and pizza, yeah. No, right. It's a goddamn blasphemy. You know, like, go to Italy. I was recently in Italy, and yeah, they would have crucified me if I would have suggested it. Now, back to this. So, why I told you the story of the kindergarten again. Truth does not matter to superpowers. It does not. The only thing that matters is how, if you can spin it. So if Biden comes so strongly and says, hey, nah, it was Ukraine, that is a clear message to Russia, right? Guys, do what you want. And so what we see is what I've warned. It shows the priority of the United, you know, like it shows that going to war with Russia is too much for US, and it also shows that they don't want to basically be escalating their weapons supplies. So what we will most likely see is a setting of the status quo that is now in Ukraine. Simply put, United States is more than happy to give / sell weapons, a lot of weapons to Ukraine, but not enough for them to win. Enough to fight protracted war, but probably not to win. So yeah, that's gonna be fun. Now, what is the priority? What is the thing here for the United States to play? That is, as I said, hello, Lucifer. As I have said in my video and on a few live streams, it is an access towards energy market, monopoly basically of energies to European market. Now, I will specifically I have a question for you. Who blew up Nord Stream? Official version is, right now in the West, it was done by Putin. Does it make any goddamn sense to you? You can. Scrappy, I love you, man. So if you could indulge me, I did not load these sources, yeah. Or did I? I don't think I did. I have things to share with you. Top. Oh god damn it. Sorry boys. Really sorry. Nope. Wrong source. Yeah, there we go. 1, 2, and 3. God damn it, I don't have a Google Translate in this browser. I can have to switch to Google. Yeah, so what do we know? I will use this. I will share with you. Give me a second. So here is a first source. It's in. God damn it! Discord, you bastard! I do profoundly apologize. So you can use Google Translate for this, ladies and gentlemen. It's from Swedish newspaper from 2015. Yeah, I unfortunately don't have in this browser Google Translate. So, a second source. That one is in English. Yeah. Oh. So, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, there we go. So you go down. There we go. Lovely. So this is from Pipeline Technology Journal. In 2015, explosive-laden drone was found next to Nord Stream pipeline. The Swedish source that I have shared with you, they specifically describe that it was a remotely operated drone, that this was a routine inspection, and they have severed the connection. From the some way of operating to the drone. Well, since the drone was on the seafloor, right, next to the pipeline, we can clearly say, absolutely, that it had some kind of a buoy that had antennas and stuff like that, that you could operate remotely from that. Like the Swedish bomb disposal guys, got rid of it. You can, yeah, it's actually written here. The cable used to control the drone, was cut off. So here, very important. The national identity of the drone has not been verified so far, as many countries use unmanned underwater vehicles of a similar construction. Okay, I'll tell you this. If something is not identified, something like that, where you have shit tons of chips, waste, like even from goddamn screws you can figure out where it was built, like not to mention from the plastic explosive, if that was a C4, I'm just saying, it or something like that, it's probably, could have been Russia, right? But maybe not. If there was hexo explosive, that is a very strictly controlled explosive in Russia, they have only one factory that produces it. It's pretty safe to say it came somewhere from the east. No mention of this. What does it mean? Well, they know whose drone it is. They just don't want to tell us because it's awkward, right? So don't forget, by the way, guys, this was a routine inspection, like, or a random routine inspection of the pipeline, like that just stumbled, and holy shit, there's a drone, you know what I mean? So they called the Swedish army. So, yeah, 2015, right? Drone is found and diffused. So we go further. Give me a second. Oh, sorry, my bad. It's still irrelevant, but god damn it, I cannot find it. Anyway, I think, I can safely say that it does not matter that much. So, but I apologize, my software. Still getting, used to it. We go forward. Just this summer, it was reported that United Kingdom was training Ukrainian special forces in how to use drones. The water drones, etc. You know what I mean? To demine their waters. Modern sea mines are underwater. Like they use various sensors and like magnetic and stuff like that. They are not like in the time of the old, where like those spiky balls, just what I mean, just under the underwater level. Like they are quite deep. So these drones need to have ability to dive deep. Right? Okay. Sure, doesn't prove anything. So let's continue in a second. So this is ADS BNL. It's tracking military aircraft. On 2nd of September, American helicopters from I had it here, from USS Kearsarge, world-class amphibious assault ship. Well, they flew from it, went to Gdansk, picked something or someone up. Gdansk, Poland, by the way. Gdansk, Poland, that is very much big friends with Ukraine and had always strong opposition towards the Nord Stream pipelines, right? The helicopters then flew again to Kerrigan, to the ship, and they then hovered for I think some 30 minutes or something like that over one specific location, like it is here. So yeah, south of the island of Broholm, like Danish island, right? And then 22 days later, give me a second. Stream explosion. Yeah, I know, Bing. Shut up. So, do we have a map? There we go. Oh no. Okay, I seriously need to pee, so maybe leave you here, guys. Yeah, it's true what they say about Bing, yeah. So, just be right back. Sorry, I do apologize. So, but cheers. But yeah, I might be gonna have to pay me for that. Scrapping. No. I will. Okay, I will find it. I will find the article. Those were they specifically said that I know they use those drones in Sevastopol, right? I absolutely know that. Yeah, but they have been also training them in using anti-mine drones to demine Ukrainian waters. Huh? I'll find that article in a bit. Yeah, no worries. I was just shooting the shit. That was maybe a poor choice of words. Just having fun, mate. So anyway, you see where I'm going. You have American helicopters picking up someone. Cat. Okay. You have American helicopters picking someone or something something from. There we go. Can we make it? Fucking hell. Is that a better map? Yeah, there we go. Whoop. So, as we have seen, like American aircraft hovering for some time, like over one of the explosion sites. That is interesting, isn't it? Like, Jesus Christ. We are sad that Russia did that. Why would Russia do that? That whole, shtick for years, they are trying to access, extra. There's, a lot of pipelines that go already to Europe, but, they are for the years trying to basically finish the Nord Stream 2 pipeline. And, fuck it, just blow it up, yeah? To stop the import of gas, right? To stop. Why? They can just close it on their end. Doesn't make goddamn sense. That's first one. But second one, we need to go back to a map. So, if you remember from 2008, there was a war between... I will actually not. Wait. I will go through the comments. So, yeah, you have, to summarize it, I will sum it up, yeah, guys. Alright, I need to scrappy, find that article, god damn it. Nope. Okay, I don't have that. So, give me a second. There. Dozens of Ukrainian personnel are being trained by Royal Navy to use high-tech crewless vehicles to help them hunt mines. Mines are underwater. These vehicles that Ukrainians have been trained in can go underwater. So again, so if we can recap, as to who blew up Nord Stream 2, or Nord Stream, 1, and I believe, the 2. I'll switch to me. So you have in 2015 a drone laden with explosives found next to one of the pipelines, right? Next to me. Okay. West, meaning, like Sweden and stuff like that, cannot identify whose it is. I.e., they can identify it, but it's awkward, like to say. Simply put, certain someone didn't tell Swedes they're leaving the drone there, and the Swedes found it, and they're like, hey guys, we found your drone. When I explained that, oh yeah, no, you keep it quiet, right? Then you have Ukrainians being trained specifically in use of similar drones, like in this summer. Then you have US helicopters flying, like from Gdańsk to Poland, picking someone up, flying over one of the explosion sites, being there for quite a while, and flying away. Now, that is why I said it was important that there was a wire, right, connected to the drone. Right, it must have had some kind of a buoy, and be floating on the, with antennas and stuff like that on top, because the official version is that Russia, that the explosion happened when there were Russian ships. I mean, you can leave the drone there, and just be like, okay, blow it up when it's useful for you. When, for example, Russian ships are patrolling in Baltic, which they do, regularly. So, I have a question for you. Do you believe the official version that Russia has blown up the Nord Stream pipeline? Now, why it doesn't make sense from Russia? Well, they can close the pipeline, on their end. They don't have to blow it up. They can be just... And they were doing that, by the way, very important. They were doing that. They were trying to put pressure on Germany, and they were saying, yeah, because of the sanctions, we don't have spare parts, to have maintain this gas station, the pressurizing, blah blah blah, technical mumbo jumbo. We don't have the spare parts, and we cannot send you any gas through the Nord Stream pipeline. Oops, sorry, just if you would lift the sanctions, maybe we can, maybe we can send the gas. So why would they blow up that goddamn pipeline, right? Yep. Poland. Yes, Scrappy, Poland is between Ukraine and Baltic Sea. But I would like to remind you that Poland and Ukraine are very much friends, and that is why I set up the motivation. Poles really goddamn hate Russians. Big time. And they were throughout the construction of Nord Stream 1 and Nord Stream 2 pipelines were very much no, stop it at all cost. There's not only that, there's a motivation because there's a gas pipeline from Russia going across Poland to Germany. And for all the gas that is transported to Germany, Germans or Russians, I don't know, I don't know how the contract is written. Someone is paying a lot of money for the transit fees, right? To Poles. So that you have just that a financial, incentive not to see Nord Stream 2, Nord Stream, neither of those be operational, because they have to use then the pipelines going through Poland. Poland's getting money, right? Not to mention that it then removes a leverage. If Russia would be like, hey, we will be sending gas to Germany, but not to Poland, because Poland pissed us off, they cannot do that, because they would lose German market if they don't have Nord Stream pipeline. So yeah, they could have, as I said, could have closed it off on their own. But far more importantly, give me a second. How are you guys familiar with the current conflict between Armenia and Azerbaijan. Give me a second. It didn't switch. There we go. How are you guys familiar with current conflict between Armenia and Azerbaijan and why that is important? Yeah, this is again, we have here. If you don't follow, yeah, please tell me. I'm not a professional. Yeah. So, Armenia is an ally of Russia. Now, don't make it anything bad with it. Armenia is completely left alone. They were trying to make friends with West. West was like, no. There was literally no one. Iran hates Armenia. Turkey hates Armenia. Georgia is like, because they don't want to piss off, like Turkey and Azerbaijan. And Azerbaijan hates, like Armenia as well. Not to mention Armenia hates also Azerbaijan, and Turkey because of the whole Armenian genocide. By the way, the official position of Turkey on Armenian genocide is it did not happen and they deserved it. That's how it can be summed up. Anyway. Now, why that is important? Russia has something like a NATO that you could order from wish. Like association of the Central Asian, countries, Belarus, Russia, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, maybe Mongolia was there, I don't know. And Armenia was part of it, or is, official. Now, Azerbaijan used the conflict in Ukraine and attacked Armenia. They have some territorial bullshit, how these wars are. They are incredibly stupid. Right, Bobby. Yeah, Bobby B. It is very important that is like literally what you just said. You were not even familiar that known that Armenia was at war. It was very one-sided, But that is manipulation by your media too. I will say why in a bit. Because this whole, we do this in West position, we do this for democracy and freedom, whenever they said it, is complete bullshit, and here is proof, and that is why you don't know anything about it, So, now, Armenia was like, hey, we've been attacked, we need help. They called their big daddy Russia and others, you know what I mean? Russia is in no position to help conventionally because of the Ukrainian war. And so they were like, fuck no. Everyone else was like, fuck no. So the Russian NATO basically fell apart. It's pointless, right? It officially still exists, but in reality, okay, I have some. Give me a second. I have some bots, in the chat. Okay, so what I was saying, yeah. So the Russian NATO basically fell apart in practice. Now, why that is important? Well, first of all, you didn't hear about it. I cannot just overstate how historic, how gigantic news it is that the Russian NATO fell apart. I forgot what it's called. Honestly, alright. I know the Czech name. I cannot. I don't know how to translate it. Yeah. So it fell apart, and you've heard nothing. Why is that? So first of all, that. Azerbaijan is, Armenia is democratic country, quite a lot democratic. It's not perfect, they have always a lot of problems with corruption, etc., etc. But they are quite democratic when compared to Azerbaijan. The problem is they don't have any oil, Armenia. Azerbaijan does. Azerbaijan, who has one of those presidents that are a president from, I think, 2001 or 2002, for life, civil freedoms and stuff like that, non-existent, in Armenia, different story. Why did West not help Armenia against Azerbaijan? Armenia, who is democratic, and it's like, hey, notice me, I'm so democratic, please help us, help me. Fuck you, like you oilless scum. You don't have any oil, we're not helping you. Right? So that is why you don't, Bobby, that is why you did not hear anything about Azerbaijan and Armenia in the news and falling apart of the Russian NATO. And again, that is gigantic news. There is gigantic news that the Russian NATO basically fall apart. And you didn't hear anything about it because they don't want to bring attention to that. West is standing by as like authoritarian country is attacking like a democratic country, like democratic, not like in the like maybe are like as democratic as, for example, Czech Republic or Germany. Don't know if I want to include United States on the list. Sorry guys, it's kind of the reality, but yeah, hey, or not even as US, but hey, definitely when you compare them to others, you know what I mean, Iran, Azerbaijan, what I mean, goddamn Turkey, very democratic country, so that is why you didn't hear anything in the news. Now, another reason why I'm bringing this up, I'll just go quickly through the comments. So, hello, cheerio. Scrappy, yeah, I do agree. You can have like democracy only if you have transparency, and in a lot of the countries, like in the West, we don't have transparency, therefore it's not democracy. Simple as that. It's, yeah, you can tell better lies. Anyway, so from Azerbaijan, there are pipelines that go to Georgia, right here, and then go to for Turkey here, either Mersin, I forget, like where specifically it is, like over here, like where then the oil and gas is unloaded onto ships, like and distributed to Israel. Takes a lot, what I mean, and also rest of the EU, like sorry, not the rest, EU takes a lot of the gas, like as well. So yeah, I understand why EU is not currently like trying to piss off Azerbaijan, like they kind of need the gas, or I'm sitting here with a hoodie for a reason, by the way. Wow, that's the reason why I'm not in a t-shirt. Yeah, so we seriously need the gas because our leaders were goddamn idiots. Anyway, so yeah, you have a pipeline that goes to Georgia and then to Turkey. Now, why it doesn't make sense also why Russia could have blown the Nord Stream pipeline is that there is a part in 2008, Russia and Georgia were at war, and there are pro-Russian separatists here in that dotted line, and it's called South Ossetia, in English, South Ossetia, or I don't know English pronunciation, and Russia specifically extended the border of control to include part of the pipeline. They have specifically put the foot there to be like, hey, we can shut it down if we wish. If I would be Russia and I would want to blow a pipeline to EU, and basically to do that, I would have blown that one, not Nord Stream. And, like not only that, I would have an excuse to do that. Because Azerbaijan is attacking my ally. Therefore, well, I'm sorry, like I'm kind of tapped when it comes to military power, but I'm just saying maybe that because in South Ossetia, there are the separatists. Maybe the separatists, which are not Russian, would be like, hey, we have like put shit tons of explosive on this pipeline unless you pull back from Armenia, we will like blow it up. Therefore, Russia would be kind of at least honoring their commitment in this Russian NATO, towards Armenia and trying to defend them. and you know what I mean, at the same time not blowing up their goddamn pipeline and putting, you know, like Europe in a goddamn predicament. So yeah, guys, I will go through the, if you have questions, if you have harder time, if you have for example, it's fine, you know, just say it. And I've noticed that a lot of Americans have this politeness, like where they don't, like they pretend to understand and go along with it because they don't want to disturb the other person, but I'm here for you. Yeah, you are basically improving my product if I didn't make myself understood well. So yeah, definitely tell me. I'll go through the comments. Yeah, thank you for the sub. Yeah, Scrappy. I live in the Sunshine State with a sunshine law. Call me spoiled. Yeah. Yeah, Nord Stream was US backed. We may have used the UK. We were very clear. Yes. You know, like from the start, you know, like it was said it was priority. If you remember, someone might have said it. You know what I mean, in the, you know, like in the past, in certain video, an evidence of who attacked the pipeline, or we all left with nothing but speculation. But baby, have you been here when I was showing those the flight, the tracking of those US helicopters that were flying? I can show it to you right now. I'll go to it actually. So some 22 days, or I forgot, you know, you can, the date is here, 2nd September, September 2nd, 2022. So American helicopters flew from an assault ship that was, you know, like patrol going through the Baltic Sea. They flew to Gdansk, picked someone up, or hey, maybe they have just stopped there for, I don't know, some Polish beer, which, guys, Czech beer. Czech beer, much better. Anyway, Bobby, they then flew into, you know what I mean, here southeast of Bornholm, where one of the explosions happened some 22 days later. If you know, and they were hovering there for quite a while. So unless, like, I mean, this is one hell of a coincidence, isn't it? Why, you know, I cannot do my, like, particularly well Schwarzenegger. Yeah. Yeah, you missed the helicopters. Okay, Bobby, I'll recap it again, yeah, for anyone who was not here. I think so. I will go even further back. Was it here? Ah, no. God damn it. So, Bobby, give me a second. Right, so 2015, explosive-laden drone was found near Nord Stream 2. A routine/random routine check by Swedish authorities have stumbled, you know, but they were inspecting the pipeline in their waters in 2015, right? They have stumbled on a drone. They're like, holy shit, there's a drone next to a, you know, pressurized gas pipeline. So they have called Swedish military, and like defused the drone. They have cut some kind of a wires. Therefore, we know this drone can submerge, lay on the seafloor, and have most likely a buoy with antennas, right? You know, like being on the, you know, like on the, god damn it, you know, basically on top of the water. They have cut those cables. Now, you can also trigger this drone, make it go kaboom at any time, you know, like when you're far away, whatever, right? So that we know. Another thing is that the national identity of the drone has not been verified so far, as many countries use unmanned underwater vehicles of similar construction, Stop said. This is absolute bullshit. You can tell, just from the explosives, just from the screws, just from the chips, from anything that you take it apart, right? What it is. You can identify it. It was not. So that is what is said to us. What does it mean? They know whose drone it is, but it is awkward to say in the West. So we move a bit further. Ukraine war, blah blah blah. Yeah. Royal Navy divers train Ukrainians to hunt for mines with underwater drones. Underwater drones. Yeah. And then we have American helicopters. By the way, if you want to know what site it is, it's ADS -B.NL. It's a Dutch site for tracking military aircraft. And if you go to September 2nd, you can find here this one, the FFAB 123. That is the code sign for, or this one, I forgot, for US helicopters for Black Hawks, I believe, or Seahawks. Yeah. It's a goddamn American, you have American flag here. So you have American helicopters flying from American ship. Where were you? God damn it. From USS Kearsarge, which is amphibious assault ship. Yeah, you have helicopters flying to Gdansk, Poland. Gdansk that are very much close friends. Poland, who is very big friends of Ukraine. Poland that hates Russia, and Poland that was always saying, "Hey, this Nord Stream business is bullshit. Let's stop it." Right? So those helicopters pick something up, and then they fly over the spot where 20 days later, was it this one? Yeah, it was this one. Over at the spot where some 20 days later, a pipeline explodes. This is kind of a big coincidence, you know what I mean? Now, again, remember, the drones that were found the drone that was found in 2015 was lying on the floor with antennas on top. So you know what I mean? Or you can set a timer, let's be honest. But antennas are better because you can then specifically blow it up when it is advantageous for you. Well, and it blew up when Russian ships were around. So, I mean, if you put all that together, who do you think blew up the Nord Stream 2 pipeline? Yeah. Baltic. Yeah, but anyway, mate, do you know how gigantic it's not an ocean, but still Baltic Sea is, that they have picked a place where there will be in 22 days an explosion, yeah, that's one hell of a coincidence, isn't it? So, and again, as I summed up, it would have made far more sense for Russia to blow up the pipeline in Georgia, because they have also plausible deniability. It can be, hey, it wasn't us, it was the South Ossetians, and we don't have anything to do with them, right? So yeah, Russia might have not done that because they don't want to piss off Turkey, but if I would be blowing up a pipeline, I would be blowing that one, not mine own, and goddamn, or at least threaten to blow it up, just saying. So, if we go, Bobby, are you convinced now? So, we have circumstantial evidence. Yes, correct, Bobby. Okay. You need to realize this. All the documents, all this, top secret. We don't have anything. How can we? Right? All the documents, national security, piss off. The best we can do, And the thing that we should do, right, as citizens, is demand answers to the questions. Because that one is an interesting question. What the fuck were American helicopters doing over the spot that would, like in 20 days, 22 days, explode? It's a gigantic coincidence. What were you doing there? I want you under oath. You know what I mean? Why you flew to Gdansk? Who or what did you pick up there? Why did you fly over the Nord Stream explosion? That would happen in 20 years. What were you doing? That is the best we can do. Now, the press is not doing that. Kind of, that's where we need to step up, right? We were fishing. Right. Yeah, sure thing, mate. But if I would be, by the way, fishing, no, god damn it. If I would be fishing, I would be fishing in North Sea. There's better fishing than in Baltic. Anywho, so I need to look at my cheat sheet. Church Armenia, what does it all mean? So now I will stick here. So what do we know? Yeah, is that so to sum it up, yeah, I hope I'm sorry if it's hard to follow. Yeah, I'm just an amateur. I'm not a professional. Missiles impacting in Poland. Given how Biden has, doesn't matter who fired them. What matters is the response, right? Because it could, even if it would be Ukraine, which I highly doubt, as I set up, it would not matter to the superpowers. They could have just said, hey now, or whatever, Biden could have said whatever. Instead, he said, no, it was Ukraine. That gives a strong signal to Russia that, hey, we don't give, we are very much not interested in war. We are not helping Ukraine further. Now, you can immediately see it because, I don't know if you're aware, I don't have it anywhere here currently. But Russia has just yesterday, I believe, said to United States, hey, we are willing to negotiate with you, with US. Yeah, okay. We are willing to negotiate with the United States, but not about Ukraine, about anything else, but not about Ukraine. Because they have a clear message that, hey, do what you will in Ukraine. So what we will see is probably more atrocities from Russia towards Ukrainian people, because the atrocities already happen. And you know what I mean? It's like, okay, you basically, US is saying we could have used this thing as a pretext to for our people to justify, basically to unite the NATO and stuff like that, to justify more help. I'm not saying necessarily going to war, right? But to step up to increase even the involvement, maybe, more weapons, more advanced weapons, maybe military aircraft, etc., etc., etc. We could have used it, but we said nope. That's a game, this is again, please remember, we the people, we are just a resource to them. Yeah, they need to convince us that what they are doing is for freedom and democracy, and as we've seen with Armenia, is bullshit. It's absolute goddamn bullshit. That's not why this is happening. Yeah. So Russia got the strong signal. Hey, yeah, we are not getting involved, anymore. From the US. So as I said, they have already were like, hey, we want to negotiate, but not about Ukraine, about anything else, but not Ukraine. So Russia will probably bomb even more Ukraine to increase their position for negotiations. Destroy them even more. They, simply put, they are destroying them now for almost, what is it, 8 months, or how long? Yeah, something like that now. 9 months, actually. 9 months. And So people in the West are kind of getting whatever. So it will be stepped up, and wait, music stopped. It will be stepped up, and yeah, Ukrainian people get fucked even more. Yeah, and we will be basically saying this is the beginning of the end. You know, like I don't have now the. I don't want to be fucking finding it, but if you're not aware, Russia is holding more or less this line. Something like that, you know. Kharkiv was liberated, you know. So this is what Russia holds now. Russia holds it because they are happy with it. They have a buffer now between themselves, and if Ukraine joins NATO, on their neck. This is their neck. It's like a terribly test. This is extremely strategically important area. They have Russia fought 3 wars just in here in this region in 2008 and in 1994 and in 1999 and 2006 2007 depending. So this is an extremely important, strategically important area for Russia, and Russia absolutely does not want NATO anywhere near here. Yeah, also Germans in both world wars were trying their best to get here, yeah, so it's not just me saying, you know, like this is strategically important place. Now, why did they go to war now? Well, simply put, Ukraine was getting more and more weapons from the West. I'm not justifying this. I'm just explaining. People often confuse this. So Ukraine was getting more and more weapons from the West, and Russia was like, hey, we can, like sooner or later we cannot defeat them or get anything from the war. You know, well, if we go to war, we go now. Oh, it's basically a reasoning of Germany in World War I against Russia. I would actually, if I may, I would recommend an excellent documentary that explains like a lot how superpowers perceive world and how they work, and how you have individual powers. I'm sorry that I'm a bit all over the place. It's on Netflix. The Long Road to War. Absolutely recommend it. It's brilliant. They go through the motivations of the various powers, you know what I mean, be it superpowers or even, you know, just states. Brilliant documentary. A wee bit Serbian bias in my opinion. It's, yeah, but other than that, they go over France, Russia, Germany, Great Britain, Serbia, obviously, Turkey, Ottoman Empire at the time. I would seriously recommend it watching. It's 90 minutes or 2 hours actually. Sorry, 2 hours, you know. But brilliant, explains a lot how geostrategy works, you know, like priorities and stuff like that. So basically Germany wanted a war with Russia because Russia was getting stronger and stronger, and they could not have won a future war, you know what I mean, like, yeah, in, for example, 1920, they could have won it in 1914, but not in 1920. So that is why Russia went to war in Ukraine now. There's also the whole Nord Stream and stuff like that. I will be explaining more in my future documentary that I'm currently working on. I'm sorry that it takes so long, but hi. I'm sorry that it takes so incredibly long. However, the sources, I have shit tons of sources that I need to go through, and well, I went through. I'm now making the video. You know, I'm talking 13 books. You know, thousands of articles, many studies. You know. Not to like all of that, you know, and a lot of it is basically pointless, you know, like it doesn't help, you know, like at all. I didn't tell me anything, you know, so, but I still needed to go through it. And guys, I'm and I need to now simplify it, like in a story form. I chosen basically a story form because it is for general audience, the easiest to follow, right? Like the animated and stuff like that. But to simplify, like in such a complex thing sometimes is incredibly difficult, and I have problems with writing it. Not to mention that every time when I try to write something, I need to research again because I need to make sure, right? Because I first made the general research, right? And I needed to basically figure out, okay, what is the truth? Like what is the case? But now when I'm writing it, I need to be factual. I need to be brief, but I need to be factual. That's the main thing, right? So I need to be like, what precisely happened there? And okay, yeah, how to write it so it fits the reality, you know what I mean? And I must say I'm not particularly talented. Yeah, but however, I would like to... I will say this, if you watch the video, and I will provide all the sources, by the way, there will be in a corner, source 22, 23, whatever, in the comments, it will be all organized, yeah. You can go, and exclusively Western sources, there's one exception. I needed to verify identity of a certain Libyan smuggler, for the story, and that was from Arabic, like page, a news site, and so yeah, if you watch the video, and I would implore you highly to watch it when it's done. If you watch it and if you go through the sources, you will realize everything that has been told to us is a lie, like gigantic. The freedom, I'm not even kidding. Like if you think about the biggest, and by the way, Russia are not good guys. Like I very specifically have had a sneak peek of the video where Putin committed a false flag attack on his own people in 1999 in order to basically get presidentship and other things, But he killed hundreds of his own people. Hundreds. And it's like the obvious. Like literally. Anyway. If you will pay attention, you will to that video, and what I'm trying to do is to change the world. And because it is everything that you've been told is a lie, and you just don't understand to what degree. If you take the worst sins of United States from a history that even now are recognized as, I'm talking slavery, for example, of Western Europe, of colonialism, those biggest sins, they still continue. The US, the slavery and stuff like that, that was not their intention at a certain place, but that was a result, definitely. But yeah, it's... I will be called conspiracy theorist, but the thing is, all of this is not conspiracies. V-Radio have just recently shared a video with Hillary Clinton and Condoleezza Rice, where they were talking about Libya and Syria. Lies. And we know that from WikiLeaks, and the media does not call out them on those lies. We know that by their own admission what was the motivation in Libya, what was the motivation in Syria, what they did, and the media still doesn't pick it up. I will go a bit philosophical, but we don't even have free will. Because media, is supposed to bring us information, we are supposed to decide, etc. If they omit this, if they don't go into this, we lack a free will as people. We cannot decide on our own. The decisions are made for us by the people in power. If you disagree, or something like that, we can have a philosophical discussion on this. I don't want to go too much. So anyway. I will be slowly wrapping it up. If you have questions, please write them. I will go through the chat now. Sorry if it was a bit rambly or incoherent and stuff. I'm just an amateur, more analytic mind than entertainer. So get started. Yes, Scrappy, Nord Stream precisely. You are absolutely correct. You are absolutely correct, Spread the blame about so no one gets held accountable. Yes. What I think happened with the Nord Stream, I'm presuming you're talking about the Nord Stream, was that the US helicopters have picked Polish/Ukrainian special forces, probably both, trained by UK, maybe even, with UK weapons. So now you have US to blame, well, if someone asks them, the officers, right? For example, the officer of the ship or something like that. Hey, did you blow up Nord Stream? Under oath. No, it wasn't me. I didn't give those orders. But hey, well, maybe I gave just a right. To some Ukrainians that blew up it. Did it there. So it's basically set up like that, so people can tell. Don't have to lie. Don't have to lie under oath. So yeah. Yeah, shit, this is long and Zelensky wants to carry on. Yeah, absolutely, Zelensky wants to carry on. It's his mate. I would like to just remind you, Ukraine is the goddamn fucking victim in all of this. They're just a fucking pawn on a chessboard. They're getting fucked. Their country is split in half. Their people are suffering under occupation. I don't know. Don't think that Russia are some, some benevolent fucking occupiers. They brutally suppress, people, freedom, forget it. Freedom of speech, etc. Hunger will set it. Jesus Christ, there are also elements of genocide. They have kidnapped thousands of Ukrainian kids and then just shipped them off to Russia. No one knows where they are. This is literally, by the way, that's one of the definitions of genocide. If you steal children of a nation, that's genocide. Just saying. Yeah. So, thanks. I'm watching it when wife isn't wanting a movie. Yeah, definitely. I would recommend anyone who is interested in geostrategy, geopolitics, watch the documentary. Brilliant documentary on Netflix. Job on the live logical time. I'm just following around on my comments. All good, mate, Tony. All good. No worries. Just one thing. I wanted to say this, or I will say it, if I can say it right here. I do consider myself as a a smart person, quite intelligent, but I don't. I'm not proud of it or anything like that, because why should I be proud of it? I was born that way, right? But that also, I didn't go to some brain gym to lift heavy books or something like that, make my brain function well. But that also follows, that if people are, for example, having issues following this, it's complex things, guys. It's and you are not taught this. You are probably quite a lot out of your element. That it's not a point to be ashamed of. You know what I mean? Nothing. This is what I hate. Is split bit. When smart people are looking down on people who are not particularly, not as smart, and it's oh, I'm so smart. It's terrible. No. Jesus Christ, everyone was born with certain IQ points. We cannot increase them. The only people that I can give credit to, and I'm proud of, are my parents, that they fed me well when I was a child. So scrappy. We have to keep the ship from beating us up to take the care of them. Scrappy, I think we need to convince the sheep. So Scrappy writes, we have to keep the sheep from beating us up to take care of them. We have to you are right, there are definitely people who are sheep, who just follow the narratives and stuff like that, who don't think for themselves. what we need to do is content creators like me, like Neil, like Good Logic, etc., and specifically who have cultivated trust from their audience. I would prefer if people would not trust anyone. I don't trust anyone. I always verify, right? No content creator, no media, no one, even from my own country. I don't trust my politicians. We checks. We don't trust our, no one. And we verify, yeah, so I would prefer if people would be like that, but they are not. They simply need to trust someone. And I don't blame them, in the end, you have families, you have work, you have your priorities. You cannot do fucking hours of research, right, in order to know what the truth is. That you just cannot do that. Like a normal, regular people cannot do that, right? So we need to rely on media to a degree, yeah. But they have betrayed our trust, and we need to, let's say, these sheep. We need to convince them, hey, there's a problem, big problem. Terrible evil is being done. People are dying who don't have to die. Not to mention, I'm just saying, if that doesn't, bother you, I think you don't like to pay, shit tons on gas, shit tons on heat, shit tons on food, that your life savings basically don't mean anything because of general inflation, right? That your taxpayers' dollars are sent, to fight wars that don't have to be fought, instead of investing in infrastructure. I've read a recent, interesting statistic around, what was it, 5,000 people have died in the United States, I think every 5 years or something like that, because of potholes. I'm just saying, if we would have been, being in wars in Iraq, Syria, Libya, etc., or somewhere else, if the war would not be going, you could have, for example, repair those goddamn fucking roads, and your people would not have to die. 5,000 people, I think, every 5 or 3 years, I forgot it. Anyway, shit tons of people, Americans, died because shitty roads. It's just one of the things that you could have done with all that money that you are sending away, right? So, yeah, so you understand, I'm trying to focus on common interest, right? We have a common foe, we have a common interest in the self-interests, right? In this, I also don't like that I have to pay shit tons on gas, shit tons of electricity, shit tons on food. Not to mention that my money, means has less of a value. That's all a fucking fault of these assholes that make these fucking wars. We have to keep the sheep. Yeah, so EU isn't addressing human trafficking. Yes, they're not. Not only that, they are complicit. They are literally complicit, right? I'm not. This is a big reveal in my video, so but I don't have many viewers right now, so I can fucking say it. France have full-on a colonial empire in Africa. I should pull it up. Give me a second, guys. I don't know if you are familiar with CFA franc. CFA franc. Map up. It's a big reveal. So these African countries are literally colonized by France. They are in monetary union. They are using, African franc. There are two currencies technically, but they have the same value. They are bound to euro. Before that, they were bound to a franc. And every time there's an African leader, oops, he got assassinated, that says, hey, let's abandon this franc because it's bad for us. And it's really bad. I will go why, in a second. If you are interested, I don't know, if you really don't want to hear that, just tell me and I will stop. Yeah, I will talk about something else, but if that interests you, I can tell you, huh? Right, Scruffy. I don't know how to interpret that. Anyway, so France forcing this. Well, it was first voluntary, but now it's forcing these countries in Africa to be in monetary union with them, right? And it every time there's an African leader that is saying, "Hey, let's abandon this. This is bad for us," etc., etc., etc. Oops, he got assassinated. Oops, there was a coup. Oops, there was a revolution. It's out of nowhere. You know, like one guy was, like 2 days away from, basically putting a vote for abandoning the CFA franc. Assassinated like that. He was very popular. Like he didn't have beef with anyone. Just oops. Like I wonder why that happened. 22 leaders, 22 African leaders. Like since I think 1960s. Like to now. 23 if you count certain Gaddafi in Libya over yonder. But anyway, back to that. So what is this doing, the CFA franc to Africa, is the African countries need to have as a condition, they need to have their foreign currencies like dollars, like yuan and stuff like that. They need 70% of those to keep in French banks. And then they need that money, for example, to build a new road, what I mean, when they need a new railroad, etc. And they are like, go to France, hey, can we have that money? Our money. France is like, yeah, sure, you can have that money. We will, but with an interest. The African countries, I shit you not, they need to pay interest in order to get their money. Now, also because how the the financial system is set up, and the currency, is pegged to euro, etc. It's complicated things I don't fully understand, But I'm not a financial. I'm not an expert, on financial matters and stuff like that. But what it does is that it basically forces the African countries to focus on exporting raw materials. They don't process them. They cannot grow their own economy because they would not be competitive on the market. You know what I mean? If they would do that and stuff like that. They basically ship raw materials, wood, uranium, gold, diamonds, etc. Right? They ship it mostly to France because one more thing, France will give, for example, African countries the money, be like, hey, build the road, but you have to hire a French company to do it. Yeah, and by the way, this is not me just saying it, President Jacques Chirac, former President Jacques Chirac of France said, hey, let's be honest, we are a fucking, if we fought Africa, France would become basically a third rate power. They are literally, so because if you don't know, French fucking protest all the time to keep positions, they protested, and they kept people employed in national railway that work like 10 hours a week and they have a full-time pay. How can that country keep functioning if it's, who is paying for that? Well, African fucking countries, So, yeah, that many countries scrapping. Clinton, yes! But it was someone else's idea, someone who I call Littlefingers. Well, actually, do I have it somewhere? 1 second. I will show you who is responsible for that. My videos. Give me a second. Pam pam pam. So where do I have it? Here. God damn it. If I'm boring, by the way, I can, it's fine, I can go, but but it is because I have unfortunately I should have put there also EU flag, but as you can see, if you don't know who this is, who this is and who this is, those are folks responsible for American foreign policy. This person, and I swear I'm not making this up, is called in Brazil the coup queen, or what is it? The coup specialist. Sorry, the coup specialist. With her just traveling to a country I had from back channels and stuff like that, wink wink nudge nudge, basically told me, dude, you know, like, are you fucking crazy? Why are you making a video about her? Do you want to get Clinton? That's one thing. And the other thing was, if she goes somewhere to a country, it's sending a strong message to that country, you better fucking fall in line. So if you don't know who these three are, yeah, you are for a big awakening. Anywho, so I will go further again. Anyway, so that is to Scrappy's EU isn't addressing human trafficking. Yeah, so back to that. God damn it, I don't know, whatever. Back to what Scrappy said. Not only is EU not addressing the human trafficking, but this CFA union that France has is forcing young Africans, because they cannot find any work, to emigrate to Europe. You know, to be smuggled, you know, to be enslaved in Libya. And yeah, that is one of the most strongest members of EU, and EU is like, oh, we stand for human rights and etc, 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 you know. Yeah, it's a fucking goddamn fucking lie, you know what I mean? Jesus, like. So yeah, that is on EU, because yeah, fuck France. Not only them, but yeah, so conspiracy theorists are the cool kids. The problem with conspiracy theorists, Tony, is that they sometimes reach too far, more than the evidence can support, and then people don't take them seriously. That is actually one of the things that I face when I'm making my documentary, is I cannot tell everything. Like, I'm like, I need to hold back because people will not believe it, but I have evidence for it. So I need to be like, every time when there is something hard to believe, I need to be, okay guys, this will be hard to believe. Here it is on the screen, the sources. Read it up for yourself. You know, one of which is that in 1996, United States of America, most likely with help from EU as well, have stolen Russian first presidential election in their history. In a 700 years history of Russian nation, first time they were electing their leader, United States have stolen that election. And there's actually a movie about it. It's not a secret. That's the thing. It's not a secret. Spinning Boris. I will show you. There's a movie about it. It's on YouTube. You can watch it right now. Spinning Boris. I cannot watch the bit with you, this one, yeah? It features Jeff Goldblum, you know, Liv Schreiber, and, you know, like some other guys. I cannot show you because some church from Georgia or something like that copyrights it, you know. So yeah. But yeah, there even the guy that was there by the West who's in 1996 to observe the presidential elections, he said, fucking shit, it was corrupt as fuck, it was stolen, you know. And EU and United States have put pressure on it. Shut the fuck up. Don't publish that report. No, you will publish that it was perfect. Or not perfect, it could have been improved, but it was good, it was democratic. You know, and he was and he was like, okay, like he didn't have a choice. And here's a fucking kicker. He sent a report of his colleague that was saying the same thing, that the Russian presidential election was stolen. Then and there to big media. Ignore. No one's interested. No one printed. Right? Cool. Just if you watch it, the movie, remember, there's very like a pro. There are things happening, and there's like given a spin on it. I'll actually wait. I can. Yeah, I can share it with you here. If you are looking for the movie, yeah, it's right now in the chat. Just copy paste it. Yeah, remember in that movie there's like this very pro-American spin. There are terrible things happening, and it's like, yay, America, yay, freedom, yay, like. And remember, please, that Boris Yeltsin was complete and absolute drunk, and during his reign, Russia went through one of the darkest times in their history. That's something that, again, you are not told in the West. And, like, US specifically has stolen the election to put Boris Yeltsin in power. I wonder, like, first democratic elections, to choose their leader. You know what I mean? First experiences with capitalism. I wonder what fucking perception it will leave on Russian people. Anyway, Yeltsin then later picked Putin as his successor. Oh no! Okay, then you use a VPN or something. Yeah. I will then. I'm just saying I might have it downloaded, yeah. So I might upload it on some other media or something like that, So yeah, I somehow get it to you, like I'll figure it out. No worries. Anywho, so what I was saying, yeah. So there was terrible 90s were one of the most tragic times for Russia, and that is saying something, guys. It's really saying. Anyway, there is, for example, a scene, spoiler alerts, yeah, where a TV, so you understand, this happened really. There was a TV director, like of a news and stuff like of a television, right? And he was his news were very, but fairly critical of Yeltsin. He was like, he's always drunk, he's destroying the country, etc., etc. It was in front of the election, yeah. Bada bim, bada boom, like this director is killed, assassinated. It happened on the street, right? And there's actually a scene where the American advisor is specifically like, hey, that is a great opportunity, and he's calling, like his people, and hey, figure out, ask Yeltsin, basically, or if they have someone who could take over this TV and basically be saying only positive things about Yeltsin. Well, and that did happen in reality. This director was replaced by someone who was very Yeltsin positive. And like to a fucking degree, and he was completely, those guys that were against Yeltsin, he was completely saying, no, they are like fascists, etc., right? And please also remember, Russian people didn't have experience with democracy. They were coming from communism, yeah? They were quite naive, easy to manipulate. And that really happened, and it's like spin this dark humor, like in the movie, but in reality, like did you consider that maybe someone from Yeltsin's campaign had that guy specifically assassinated? I'm just saying. So yeah, again, this, by the way, this is not a secret. There's a fucking movie about it. Anywho, so what do we have here? Next. So yeah, anyway, so that was, sorry, the tangent. Tony, that was to you that conspiracy theorists sometimes go way too far, i.e. Alex Jones, and I mean, he was right on quite a lot, like it turned out, but I mean, throw enough, like shit on the wall, something will stick, So, very freaking complex, hard as hell to pull others up. I'm presuming you're talking about the sheep now, scrapping. I'm sorry if it's disrespectful to someone. it's just I don't know. It's like actually accurate, description in my opinion. But yeah, I would say followers, maybe, or something. Yeah. Yeah, that is scrappy. That is where content creators need to step up, because content creators currently, we're also fucking, you know what I mean? Like, I'm small content creator, right? But even big content creators, there are also people. They have their savings. Their savings mean fuck all now. They have children. I'm just saying we were flirting with World War III. I mean, we're kind of going there, as a bigger picture with China and stuff like that. I can maybe talk about that if you want to, I'll go in a bit. But yeah, we are basically going into shit. We will be fighting those wars, the children of the content creators will be fighting those wars, or they will have bombs and nukes fucking, drop on them. Those rich assholes, who risk basically the annihilation of the world, to make extra money. And there's a bit more, not just money, they're fucking lunatics anyway. They will be safe in their bunkers and stuff like that, we'll be fucking in a fallout wasteland. So Clinton, that many countries, human rights is we work for our pay. Sure, put a link in chat. Or the title, yeah, okay, I'll put also Spinning Boris is the name of the movie, if you... Yeah, the blonde Boris. So, that's the name of the movie. Okay, it's blocked in the US, we will go after it. Sure. Yeah, Scrappy says, I do not want my children fighting my shit. That should have been figured out already. Yes. That it was not a war since World War II. And maybe Korea. That it was not pointless. Every single, especially in this century, every single fucking war is completely pointless. And why I'm saying World War II was not pointless, obviously it was, it's tragedy, but simply put, certain mustache man had certain goals that he could not have achieved otherwise than war. That it can make sense, you know what I mean? But every single other war was completely idiotic. Everything could have been fucking avoided, just much of you assholes, and stuff like that. Yeah, Korea is not over. I mean, sure. I mean, who gives a shit? They basically just showing their missiles. Hey, notice us. You know what I mean? Don't pay attention only to Russia and Ukraine. We are scary too. They're basically doing that to have a leverage, for extra humanitarian aid and stuff like that. Vietnam is tough. Yeah. Vietnam is tough. I don't know if I don't think I've read. So, Scrappy, Vietnam is tough said. As you can see, I'm from Czech Republic, and we have a big Vietnamese minority, at the time we were a communist nation during Vietnam War, so Vietnamese sympathies and stuff like that. Sympathizing with our communist brothers and sisters, we helped out a lot, so we accepted a lot of people, and absolutely great countrymen. They have turned out to be generations and generations of Vietnamese live in Czech Republic. And I spoke with some of the Vietnam War veterans of, former Vietcong or NVA, North Vietnamese Army, right? And one of the things that always stood up, no one understood why America was in Vietnam. They were like, fucking Christ, we were friends. I don't know if you know this, but American presidents, who was that? I forgot, anyway, American presidents were big pals with Ho Chi Minh, and with North Vietnam, but then something changed, right? And it's like, Yeah. Anyway, so they were like, why they are here? You know, like the French, okay, we were fighting the French because they colonized us. We get it. But why are the fucking Americans here? They didn't understand it to this day. You know, why United States was in the fucking Vietnam. You know, and they were we were friends. Why are you doing this to us, basically? You know, and it stood out, you know, like greatly. Gadsden. I don't know what, Tony, I do not know what Gadsden is. Yeah. Yeah, sure, Vietnam is over, sure. Yeah, well, the Gulf, I don't know, as far as I know, Scrappy, the Vietnam War happened because the Monroe Doctrine, bullshit Monroe Doctrine, the containment, I forgot who said it now. Yeah, don't tread on me, right? Gadsden, yeah, right. Right. Anyway, Vietnam, as far as I know, happened because there was the theory that the communism will spread potentially all the way to India, and we can have that, right, US? Well, it didn't. You know, by the way, if you are not, Scrappy, answer me this. You know, like, did you know that Vietnam, after the Vietnam War, you know, with United States, actually fought a war with China, specifically to stop the Chinese communists taking over Vietnam, potentially the you know, like rest of the Southeast Asia. I wonder, you know, like, if you knew that, you know, like yeah, Vietnamese were like, fuck you, you know what I mean? No, we will not be spreading your type of communism here, you know what I mean? Fuck off. And they fought war with China. And won it, by the way. If anything, you know, like, don't fuck with Vietnamese people. The bastards are small, but goddamn. Yeah, okay, no, Scrappy, then I think you should, with that, revisit your, like, I don't know what you like, if you're specifically talking about the Gulf of Tonkin incident, or like the reasoning behind why US went to war with Vietnam. I will say the Gulf of Tonkin, you know, like how much it didn't make any sense is that US was sending special forces guys, you know, like on small military aircraft from their flotilla, you know what I mean, from their fleet, I'm sorry. Were sending them to North Vietnamese island, and were blowing up radar stations and other, you know, like defensive, you know what I mean, places, right? And Vietnamese were like, fuck you, and basically went and shot, you know, like at the US fleet. And there was no reaction from the from the US government. And then there was a false report the next day that Vietnamese were shooting at American, you know, like ships. And the government took it, and when the Navy was like, no, that was a false report, completely wrong, it was just bad weather. No, it's fine. And specifically, and this should, I implore you, yeah, there was who was he? I forgot, you know, like some secretary or some politician, right, was in like testifying in Congress, and he was they specifically asked him if US was sending like special forces to those islands, you know, and he said no, we were not sending any special forces to North Vietnamese islands. This attack was completely unprovoked. He full on lied under oath. Nothing was done about it. Yeah, Scrappy, you know, you know, I'm trying to, like, with this bullshit, you know, with the video and stuff like that I'm making, I'm trying to unify people, like, this is everyone's cause. We are getting fucked over, you know, like, so your uncle, your dad fight wars, you know, like, they fucking bring PTSD, or could have died, maybe lost limbs, you know, lost friends. What for? What the fuck for? You know what I mean? And yeah, it just pisses me off, because especially, like with soldiers, like they give the best of their to their country, right? The best they have, like all they have. And it's by assholes in power, like used and abused, like perverted. So they can fucking get rich. Fucking hell. Yeah. Yeah, there you go, Scrappy. We share something kind of in common. I just tell this story, and if you have guys questions at 2 hours, I wanted to max 1.5 hours. Like I'm rambling. Sorry. If you have any questions, like just ask them. I'll just tell you, Scrappy, we have something in common-ish, because during Second World War, my great uncle was bombardier in RAF. Like he after the Germans occupied us, he flew west. He ran. I don't know. You know what I mean. Anyway, he went west and joined, like RAF, and was flying, like bomber missions, right? And I think he was a radio man. Yeah, he was a radio man, and he was returning, on a return trip from Germany. He was shot down over Netherlands, and he took his life rather than to be captured. Like not only because the Nazis would torture him, etc., but because we've been annexed before the war started and everything by Germany. He would be considered a traitor, and Germans would shoot his entire family, including my great granddad or grandma. I don't know how to say how many greats in English. Yeah, so if it's a surreal thing that this man who was risking his life not only risked, but put everything he had, took his life, and without his sacrifice, I literally would not have been here. So yeah. Okay, since there are no questions, I'm gonna end this. I hope you had at least somewhat fun, and that I have at least somewhat taught you. And or one more thing, this would be goddamn impossible. I wanted to specifically, we are boys and girls, we may be going, not now, not in the upcoming 5-10 years for World War III, but there are moves already being made, and I need to say why and where. Sorry, it's in Czech. Give me a second. I'll change it to English. So, the problem we are now facing, like all of us, is goddamn China. Because I don't know if you're paying attention as to what is currently happening in the land of the dragon, but they are entering very scary time, or entered actually, very scary time in nations' development. So you understand, communism as ideology basically failed, but they cannot say, hey, we lied to you, etc., like you sacrificed your life for nothing. And so they needed to switch it to something. They switched it to a goddamn nationalism. So you hear more and more from China the superiority of Han race. It sounds, like familiar. If that sounds familiar, guys, it's because a certain mustache man was saying the same thing, and how that ended up. And they are making moves, and so before the war, it is the problem why the bullshit with Russia doesn't make any goddamn sense, like from West. And my position that I'm not saying sacrifice fucking Ukraine now. God don't. No. But it could have been, the whole thing could have been avoided if West would handle it differently. Well, so it doesn't make sense. It's the only way how to contain China is to use their weakness. They don't have many natural resources like oil, etc., etc. And there's a containment strategy, because if you think that the United States is having, you know, like such a super duper pulse with South Korea, Japan, Taiwan, and Philippines, you know, it's trying to make buddy, you know what I mean, then you are insane if you think that it is just for shits and giggles, because that creates a beautiful naval containment, all these islands and stuff like that. It can block off China from accessing, well, the natural resources they need. That is why China is expanding into the South China Sea so rapidly to get to oil, etc. You know what I mean? And you can also block them here in Singapore and stuff like that, you know, like in other places. Make life very difficult for them. But if you push Russia, because Russia is switching away from Western, you know, like from European market, they are securing Ukraine, you know, like as to basically, hey, we really needed, you know, we will be losing the European market sooner or later, you know, to USA because the Nord Stream 2 sanctions and stuff like that. We can maybe defeat Ukraine now, not later. So let's do it now. So they went to Ukraine, and we are pushing them further and further away from us and further to China. And Russia has shit tons of oil, shit tons of gas and other resources. And if you are wondering why China is not helping Russia more, well, because this war will make Russia weaker. And if Russia is weaker, China will have the stronger position in negotiation with Russia. They can basically take more from them, have better position. So China is willing to help Russia, but not so much. You know, I mean, only a wee bit. So yeah, this is geostrategy. This is the big leagues, boys. Yeah, so we are basically setting stage for a World War III. And it's so stupid, we could have avoided it, you know what I mean? Yeah, now the scary part, and by the way, if, you know, like the scary part in World War III and stuff like that, or the problem is that we are creating a block of Asian countries, you know, like you have Russia, right, China, India is kind of like, okay, guy, I will go along with it, but if they will fucking convince these guys, these assholes. Iran already hates US. Saudi Arabia hates US as well. They just, you know, they like selling the, you know, like United States to the West, you know, like that oil and stuff like that. But if Russia, China and stuff like that convince all these guys to fucking be like, yeah, okay, let's share our resources, etc. Let's basically bring also, you know, like kind of, you know, like Africa into our sphere of influence, etc. Yeah, we are gonna be fucked as well. And then that's the thing, you know, we basically went through having very much control over both China and Russia to having no control over China and Russia and basically made their hand stronger. This whole fucking thing is so stupid. Anyway, so I don't know if you follow that. Yeah. If I explain it properly. But yeah, I'm gonna go slowly and surely. So thank you for your attention. I hope I have been somewhat entertaining, somewhat educational, somewhat easy to follow. So yeah, mates, thanks for watching and have a good one. Nice evening or nice afternoon, whatever you are watching. So cheer out.